Okay, just a bit of a travel update for you guys. We just spent 10 days out of the country, but I drove 343 kilometers down to Toronto and did 110 kilometers an hour to get here. And I wanted to show you guys, after the car sat here for 9 days or whatever it was, the eco information screen is all messed up. It says that we have used 20.5 liters per 100 kilometers. That's not right. And 39.7 kilowatt hours. That's not right either. So the basic information I can give you is we've come 343 kilometers and we're still showing that we have 140 kilometers left in the tank, which is about right. I get anywhere between 500 and 550 kilometers per tank on these long trips. That was leaving with a charge. We didn't get a charge from the hotel or anything, so 112 kilometers left on the gasometer. And very shortly, when the gas light comes on, we're going to lose the gasometer. So you're basically driving blind. You don't know how many kilometers you have left once that gas light comes on. So I've got to make it 68 kilometers here to the gas station that I'm headed for, and I'll be driving blind in a minute. Which is not a big deal if you're paying attention, but if you suddenly look down and say, hey, I have no idea when that light came on, and it's not showing you how far you can go, it's just it's a bad design. It should continue to show you right down to the end how many kilometers you have left, in my opinion. Okay, so the fuel light actually didn't come on until I had 65 kilometers left on the gasometer. So, and it's still showing kilometers. I forgot about that. I think it's when we reach 50 kilometers, the screen goes blank. So just at your most crucial is when it disappears. So we'll note that doing the 110 kilometers on the way down really did hurt the bottom line for this vehicle. We're only going to get 460 projected kilometers here on this tank. So it might be a little bit more, a little bit less, but it's not even going to be the 500 kilometers that I would normally get. And normally when I'm driving a long distance like that, we're doing about 100 kilometers an hour. So that's the difference. So that 10 kilometers per hour is going to cost you between 50 and 100 kilometers that you would get per tank. I'm also going to note that I used cruise control most of the way down to Toronto. And I find the cruise control is not efficient in this vehicle at all. It sets you at braking level 2, so you don't get any coasting. And I think that's a big factor here as well. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on. We're still showing kilometers. We just went from 50 to 49 and it's still showing. I wonder if that's because the BMU has been updated twice in this vehicle since we did the original video showing that your gasometer shuts down. And I can't remember if it was at 100 or if it was at 50, but I know it used to go blank. I'll keep my eye on it. If it goes blank, I'll show you guys. This is where I question when you have 40 kilometers left on the gasometer and you know you're going about 20 kilometers, should I push the charge button? Because in the next 10 minutes, I know I can get 8 kilometers worth of electric. Okay, it just dinged to remind me, hey, you're about to run out of fuel, dummy. We are not going to charge. Charging uses more fuel, so we're just going to keep going. This vehicle does give me range anxiety. It does. Why did they put a 43-liter tank on this thing? And there, when it turned to 40 kilometers left on the gasometer, it went blank, which is not where it used to do that, but it still does go blank. Shame on you, Mitsubishi. Listen to your customers. We already have range anxiety. You don't need to do that to us. That's like torture right there. What's even worse is the gas gauge is showing completely empty. Yeah, I guess I'm not cool with that because my anxiety level just went through the roof. My wife politely pointed out that maybe it's not accurate at the bottom. I know it's not accurate, but if it says 40 kilometers, at least I would hope I should get half of that. We're gonna find out. If I run out of gas on the highway, I'm gonna be upset. We made it. So when we get home, I'm going to fuel up again, and then I'll give you guys the numbers, liters per kilometers used on this trip. So I know you guys are going to ask, but I only went another 5 or 6 kilometers after the gasometer disappeared, so I can't tell you how far you can go once that thing disappears. So on the way home here, I am not going to use cruise control, and I'm still going to do 110, but then I want to compare numbers. We'll have a gas receipt for the halfway and a gas receipt when we get home, so I'll give you guys a total liters per 100 kilometers average for the trip there and back, and then we'll look at them separately and see if using the cruise control made any difference. On the way down, we had about 300 pounds in gear and 4 people in the car. On the way home, we've actually got a load of groceries on top of that, and a full 9 days at all-inclusive means that everybody weighs 5 pounds more, so got to take that into consideration as well. Okay, so we're projecting 376 kilometers. We've already come 136, so that's going to be over 500 kilometers on the way back. And I've had a request to turn the heat off because it's just warmer today. It's only -8, so that's going to make a difference too, I think, heading home here. So the whole trip home basically has consisted of the best hypermiling practices that I can get. No cruise control and B0, coasting whenever we can down big hills. Okay, there is the end of the trip. There's another 254.4 kilometers. I'll show you the eco information. I'm assuming that's just for today's trip, that it reset itself after sitting there for 9 days, but I'm not sure because I didn't check it when we first started driving this morning. We drove 15 minutes or so before I turned it on. 8.7 liters per 100 kilometers, 23.8 kilowatt hours, 30%. That's without a charge. That's coming straight from the hotel. So we have 2 receipts now. We will crunch the numbers. 444 kilometers on the first gas receipt, 254.4 on the second. Let's see what our average liters per 100 kilometers is. Okay, so 444.7 kilometers, 37.73 liters. So we divide our liters by our kilometers, gives us 8.48 liters per 100 kilometers on the way there, and the first 100 and some kilometers on the way back. The rest of the trip, 254.4 kilometers, 23 liters even. Divide 23 liters by 254 gives us 9.04 liters per 100 kilometers, which is the opposite of what I thought was happening. I thought that on the way home I was doing so much better, but apparently we did a little bit worse. We combine those two together and you get an 8.7 liter per 100 kilometer average. That's fully loaded, 700 kilometers. And a charge on the way there, no charge on the way back.